Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me today. Now, I want to talk about something powerful, how high-value women talk to men. You see, when a woman knows her worth, her words carry weight. And I'm going to share 6 key notes on how she communicates, so pay attention. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that'll change the whole way you see a woman of value. She speaks with confidence. I ain't talking about arrogance. I'm not saying she got to be loud or over the top. Talking about that deep inner knowing, that kind of confidence that doesn't beg for approval, doesn't wait for permission, and doesn't fold under pressure. She walks in the room like she belongs there because she knows she does. That's a high-value woman. Now, I've seen a lot of different types of women in my life. I've been around the shy ones, the unsure ones, the ones who second-guess everything they say, and then I've been around the ones who carry themselves like royalty because they know their worth. When she opens her mouth, there's power in her voice. Even if she speaks softly, people lean in because there's something steady about her. There's no tremble in her tone. There's no question in her eyes. She means what she says and says what she means. See, when a woman speaks with confidence, it makes a man sit up straight. Oh, yeah, you better believe it. It makes a man adjust his posture. He starts thinking about how he talking to her, how he carrying himself. She don't even have to say much. She could be sitting across from you at dinner and just say, I don't like when people waste my time. Now, she didn't yell, she didn't cuss, she didn't threaten. She just let you know, and you heard her loud and clear. That's what confidence does. And the reason she talks like that is because she's done the work. See, you don't just wake up confident one day. You don't just say, oh, I'm a queen now, and all of a sudden everybody respects you. No, you become that woman through experiences, through heartbreak, through failure, through getting back up again and again. A high-value woman's confidence comes from knowing she's been through some storms and came out on the other side better, wiser, stronger. She's not worried about what you think of her outfit, her voice, her opinions. She's not performing. She's not playing games. She's not trying to be liked. She's trying to be understood. And if you don't get it, that's fine. She'll move on with her life. See, confident women don't beg for attention, they attract it. That's the secret right there. Now let's talk about how she handles disrespect. You raise your voice at her, she don't match your energy. She lets you know real calm, this conversation is over, and she walks. She ain't got time for that. She doesn't need to prove herself by out yelling you. That's not confidence, that's chaos. A high-value woman doesn't do chaos, she does class. And that class is built on confidence. She can sit in a boardroom full of men and speak up like she runs the place. Even if she's the only woman in the room, she can correct you without being rude. She can say no without an explanation. And she can walk away from something that doesn't serve her without looking back. That's what confidence looks like. Now, fellas, let me just slide this in here. You want a woman like that. Oh, you might think you want the easy, the agreeable, the one who laughs at every joke and tells you what you want to hear. But I promise you this, the woman who speaks with confidence will challenge you to be better. She'll call out the king in you. She'll expect you to rise. And if you got any kind of real man in you, that's exactly what you need. So when she speaks, listen. When she walks into your life, pay attention. And if she chooses to speak to you with that kind of power in her voice, you better step up and match it. Because a high value woman ain't here to play small. She's here to speak life, walk in truth, and let the world know I am enough. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something a lot of people don't like to talk about, but they need to hear. A high value woman sets clear boundaries. That's right. She ain't out here letting folks walk all over her. She ain't living her life trying to make everybody happy. She's not bending herself into a pretzel to make a man stay. No, sir. She's got a line drawn in the sand, and you're going to know exactly where it is. Now, look, boundaries ain't about being mean or controlling. People get that twisted. They think, oh, she got too many rules, or she hard to deal with. Nah. A woman with boundaries just knows what she wants, what she's not going to tolerate, and how she expects to be treated. That ain't difficult. That's mature. That's grown woman business. See, a high-value woman doesn't leave things up in the air. She don't play that, well, maybe he'll figure it out game. No, she says it with her chest. She'll tell you straight up, hey, I don't do situationships. I date with purpose. And just like that, she done filtered out half the nonsense. She's not waiting 6 months to ask, what are we? She'll let you know up front. I'm looking for something serious, and if that's not where you're headed, that's cool, but I'm not the one. Boom, clear. No drama, just honesty. And when you try to cross that line, when you test the limit, she doesn't argue with you. She doesn't beg you to act right. She just reminds you what she said, and she lets your actions speak. You ghost her, she ain't chasing. You raise your voice, she exits the conversation. You disrespect her time, she removes herself from the situation. That's how boundaries work. They're not just things she says, they're standards she lives by. And look, it ain't easy. It takes strength to hold your ground, especially in a world that tells women to be soft, to be agreeable, to be quiet. But a high-value woman is not afraid to disappoint you if it means protecting her peace. She's not scared to say no and let it be final. She doesn't sugarcoat her truth, and that's what makes her powerful. You may not always like what she says, but you'll respect her for saying it. She knows her time is valuable. She's not entertaining energy that feels off. If a man comes around playing games, giving mixed signals, acting one way on Monday and another way on Thursday, she's gone. She's not going to sit there explaining how to treat her like a priority. You either show up right or you get shown the door. That's not being difficult. That's protecting her value. Let me tell you something else. When she sets a boundary, she don't need to yell. She don't need to cuss. She don't even need to explain herself 100 times. She just says it once, calm and direct, and then she moves accordingly. She doesn't wait for you to change. She adjusts her access. You show her who you are, and she believes you. That's called emotional intelligence. And it ain't just with men either. A high-value woman sets boundaries with her friends, her family, her job, everybody. She'll tell her friends, I don't talk bad about people behind their backs. She'll tell her boss, I'm not answering emails after 7 p.m. She'll tell her cousin, don't pop up at my house unannounced. She's not trying to control other people. She's simply controlling the environment around her. She's creating space where she can thrive. So yeah, she sets boundaries, and some people won't like it. Some folks will call her too much, say she's difficult or bougie. But let me tell you something right now. That's just people who can't benefit from crossing her lines anymore. That's people who got used to her shrinking, and now they mad she's standing tall. And baby, when a woman stands tall in her worth, when she speaks her truth and honors herself, she becomes untouchable in the best way. Now, listen up, ladies and gentlemen. One of the biggest secrets to a high-value woman's power is how she listens. Yeah, I said listens more than she talks. And I'm not talking about just hearing words. I'm talking about really tuning in, being present, catching the things that don't even get said out loud. See, a woman like this knows that communication ain't just about her voice. It's about connection. And connection starts with listening. You ever been around a woman who's always interrupting, always talking over you, always shifting the conversation back to herself? Man, that gets old fast. But a high-value woman, she's different. She waits her turn. She lets you speak your mind without feeling rushed or judged. She nods. She looks you in the eye. She asks questions that show she's actually paying attention. That's respect right there. And fellas, when a woman listens like that, it makes you feel important. It makes you feel like your words matter. And guess what? When a man feels heard, he opens up. He gets real. He starts showing his true self. You can't fake that kind of connection. It comes from two people actually hearing each other, not just waiting to talk. Now, here's something most folks don't realize. Listening is a skill and it takes effort. It ain't natural for everybody. A lot of times, we're just thinking about what we're going to say next, or we're distracted, or we're half paying attention. But a high-value woman trains herself to stay in the moment. She shuts out the noise. She focuses on the person in front of her. She's not on her phone. She's not looking around the room. She's locked in. That's powerful. But listening isn't just about letting you talk. It's about understanding what you're really saying, the emotions behind the words, the things you're scared to say out loud. She picks up on the little cues, the sigh, the hesitation, the change in tone, and she knows there's more beneath the surface. She asks the questions that help you open up without feeling pressure. That's a gift, man. When she listens like that, she also remembers. She keeps those details tucked away in her heart and mind. Maybe you told her about a dream you had, or a worry you're carrying, or a moment from your past. She holds on to those things because they matter to her. And when you least expect it, she brings it up again, showing you that she values you beyond just surface talk. Here's the thing about a woman who listens. She doesn't just hear you, she feels you. She empathizes with your struggles, she celebrates your wins, and she supports your growth. She doesn't judge when you're vulnerable. She creates a safe space for you to be yourself. And fellas, that kind of emotional safety, that's gold. That's rare. That's the kind of connection that builds strong foundations. Now, don't get me wrong, she's got plenty to say. She's not a silent wallflower, but she knows when to speak and when to listen. She doesn't monopolize the conversation. She shares her thoughts and feelings honestly, but respectfully. And because she listens so well, her words carry weight. When she talks, you pay attention. Because you know she's not just filling space, she's adding value. And this listening thing, it works both ways. When she listens, she also expects you to listen back. She wants a conversation, not a monologue. She wants respect, not just noise. So if you come at her with distractions, half-hearted attention, or worse, ignorance, you're going to find yourself shut down real quick, because a high-value woman won't waste her time talking to a brick wall. So in the end, listening is more than just a skill for her. It's a way of showing love, respect, and care. It's how she builds trust. It's how she creates intimacy. And fellas, if you're lucky enough to have a woman like that in your life, cherish her, because that kind of listening is a superpower, and it's what turns ordinary talk into real connection. Now listen here, ladies and gentlemen, because this one right here, it's a game changer. A high-value woman, she knows how to use humor to disarm. That's right. She ain't always serious, always tense, or always on edge. No, sir. She's got a way of making you laugh, lightening the mood, and breaking down walls without even trying too hard. And let me tell you why that's so powerful. Your life's hard enough already. Stress, bills, work, family, drama, all that stuff piles up on us like a mountain. Now, a woman who can bring a little laughter into that mix, man, that's refreshing. It's like she's handing you a moment of relief, a chance to breathe, to smile, to forget your troubles for just a little while. And fellas, when she does that, you start looking forward to being around her, because laughter feels good and people want to be around good feelings. But here's the thing, she ain't just cracking jokes to be funny. No, she's using humor strategically. It's a way to break tension when things get too heavy. It's a way to show she's confident enough not to take herself too seriously all the time. It's a way to invite you into her world without putting up walls. When she throws out a funny comment or a playful tease, she's telling you, hey, I'm real, I'm approachable, I'm fun. That's disarming right there. And it's not just about making you laugh at the surface level. The humor she uses is smart, it's quick. It's got a little bit of edge sometimes, but never cruel. She ain't out here trying to tear you down or make you feel small. Nope. She's playful, teasing you just enough to keep things lively, but always with respect. So she's got that timing, that delivery that makes you think, damn, she's got style. Now, some folks confuse humor with clowning, and I got to set the record straight. A high-value woman doesn't clown around to get attention or to cover up insecurities. Her laughter is genuine. Her jokes come from a place of strength, not weakness. She knows when to be serious and when to lighten up. That balance is what makes her magnetic. And you know what else? Humor is her secret weapon for handling conflict. When things get tense between her and a man, maybe a disagreement, maybe a misunderstanding, she can use humor to cool things down. She might throw in a little joke, a funny story, or a lighthearted comment that diffuses the situation. Instead of letting anger or frustration boil over, she chooses to laugh a little and bring you back to common ground. That doesn't mean she avoids tough conversations. Nah, she still speaks her mind when it counts. But she knows the power of timing, and she knows that humor can open doors where seriousness might slam them shut. She's got a way of making hard topics feel less threatening, which helps keep the relationship strong. And fellas, let me tell you, a woman with a great sense of humor is a treasure, because life ain't always gonna be roses and sunshine. You're gonna hit bumps, you're gonna have struggles, and when you do, you want someone who can make you laugh through it. Someone who can remind you not to take everything so seriously. Someone who can turn a bad day into a good story. That's what she does. But don't get it twisted. She's not your personal comedian on demand. She's got standards and she expects respect. If you come at her all serious and stiff, not knowing how to relax and enjoy the moment, you're going to feel the difference real quick. She wants a partner who can laugh with her, not just at her, who can handle her jokes and throw some back, who can keep up with her wit and not take himself too seriously. So next time you're talking to a woman and she throws out a clever joke or a playful jab, don't just laugh and move on. Appreciate it. Recognize that humor is one of her ways of showing she trusts you. She's letting her guard down a little. She's inviting you into a space where you can both be yourselves and have some fun. And that, my friends, is powerful. A high-value woman uses humor like a master artist uses paint. It colors the conversation, brightens the mood, and creates connection. She's not just talking, she's creating an experience. And when you get that kind of woman in your life, you better hold on tight because she's a whole vibe. Now, let me tell you something about a high-value woman. When she talks, you better listen, especially when she's talking about what lights her up inside. Because a woman like that, she don't just go through the motions. She's got fire. She's got passion. And when she communicates that passion, it's something else entirely. See, passion isn't just about what she does, it's about who she is. It's the thing that makes her eyes sparkle, her voice change tone, and her whole body lean in like she's ready to take on the world. When she talks about her dreams, her goals, her hobbies, or even the causes she cares about, she's not just sharing information, she's sharing a part of herself, and you can feel it. Now, a high-value woman ain't afraid to be vulnerable through her passion. She might tell you about a dream she's chasing, even if it's scary or feels out of reach. She might talk about a project she's working on that's close to her heart, or a hobby that brings her joy and peace. And when she does, she's inviting you in. She's showing you her authentic self, not just the surface stuff. And fellas, let me tell you, that kind of passion is magnetic. It pulls you in. It makes you want to listen, to learn, to support. When she talks about what she loves, you see the world through her eyes for a moment. You get a glimpse of what drives her, what motivates her, what fuels her soul. And that connection, that's real. But here's the thing. She don't just talk about passion for show. She lives it. You can tell by the way she carries herself, the way she plans her days, the way she makes decisions. Her passion isn't a hobby or a side note. It's a part of her identity. And when she shares it, she's not asking for your approval. She's telling you who she is, plain and simple. Sometimes a man might feel intimidated by that kind of passion. He might think, man, she's got so much going on. Can I keep up? And that's the point. If you can't keep up, that's on you. A high-value woman isn't here to dim her light, to make someone else comfortable. She's here to shine bright and find someone who appreciates that light. And when she talks about her passions, she doesn't just expect you to listen. She expects you to engage. She wants to see if you care enough to ask questions, to understand, to support her dreams, not dismiss them. Because passion is contagious. And if you catch it, you'll find yourself inspired too. And don't think this only applies to career goals or big life ambitions. Sometimes her passion might be simple, like how she loves cooking, or how she cares about the environment, or how she's passionate about her family. Whatever it is, it's important to her, and she'll make sure you know it. A high-value woman communicating her passions is like watching fireworks, bright, bold, and impossible to ignore. It's her way of showing she's alive, she's engaged, and she's ready for a partner who's ready to join her on that journey. So if you find yourself listening to a woman like that, don't just hear her words, feel her energy. Because that energy, that's what real connection is made of. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, this here is something many folks don't really understand when it comes to a high-value woman. She shows appreciation, yes, she does, but she doesn't depend on validation. Let me say that again. A high-value woman knows how to give thanks, how to recognize the good in others, how to celebrate the little things. But she don't need you to constantly tell her she's enough. She don't need you to stroke her ego every 5 minutes. That's a whole different kind of power right there. You see, appreciation and validation, they ain't the same thing. Appreciation is about gratitude. It's about recognizing what's good, acknowledging kindness, being thankful for the people and moments that make life better. A high-value woman is generous with her appreciation. She'll thank you when you do something nice. She'll notice when you're trying, and she'll celebrate the wins, big or small. That's a woman who uplifts the people around her. But the validation, that's different. Validation is about needing approval, needing reassurance, needing someone else to tell you you're okay or worthy. And that's where a lot of folks get tripped up. A high-value woman doesn't live for that. She doesn't need you to build her up because she's already standing tall on her own. She knows her worth from the inside out. She's got a foundation so solid, nobody's opinion can shake it. Now think about that for a second. That means she ain't out here fishing for compliments, looking for constant praise, or hanging on every word you say just to feel good about herself. No, sir. She's confident enough to say, I know who I am, and I don't need you to tell me every day. That's independence. That's emotional maturity. And fellas, that's respect. Worthy. At the same time, because she appreciates what others do, she's not cold or distant. She's warm, she's genuine. She shows gratitude in ways that make you feel valued too. Maybe she sends a simple thank you text after a date. Or maybe she remembers the little things you like and brings them up later. She recognizes effort and acknowledges kindness. That's her way of saying, I see you and I appreciate you.